Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, and this is Pearls of Wisdom and Food, and I'm a Goldilocks. Yep, I am. Even though I've got a gray bob, inside me is this little blonde girl with some curly blonde locks being very particular about how she likes everything. I think it's great being a Goldilocks. It means that you really care about what you're having, what food or liquid you're putting in your body. Do you have your cuppa? Are you new here? Well, every now and then I get a couple of new subbies, and it's always interesting to hear what their first questions might be. And I'm happy to accommodate, although I'm not happy to explain the program in 4.5 hours. But for those of you that did the little journey like a lot of us have done, like 950 different get skinny quick diets, to maybe low carb, high fat, maybe to keto, maybe to keto under 20 total carbs, maybe to carnivish, and now you're carnivore. How cool! How cool! And if you're older, this is the place for you to be, because we're turtles, and turtles we're slow motion people. It's not our first rodeo, although a bucking bronco is kind of how we might feel on the inside at times. It's not our first rodeo with having to lose weight, but most of us are totally over the depriving yourself. And if you've been doing the keto food plan, hopefully you've been getting enough fat so that you're used to it and you've become accustomed to it. And you wonder, how did I do all that deprivation before? Wasn't it just awful? I was such a clock watcher. When can I eat next? When can I eat next? It was awful. I was working in the shelter for women and children. I remember I was doing Weight Watchers, and another person was doing Weight Watchers along with me. And not that we did it I think we both joined on our own, but it was so much fun because I had somebody right there face to face that we could talk to each other about all of the different aspects. And now here it is 4 years later from we did the Weight Watchers like many years back. I switched to keto for about 3 years while I was still there. So, but this is way back in the early 2000s, no, early 2010 type thing when we did Weight Watchers together, but it was fun. And now I see that a lot of you are so lucky. Like Caitlin has her sister that does it. In fact, they came out with a book. A lot of couples do it together, Craig and Maria Emmerich, and she's just come out with a book. And you see, how lovely it is to have somebody that you can just talk to and be there with. And I know my friend June in Georgia just had her two housemates, Tracy and Kat, and they were able to do carnivore for 2 weeks. And how wonderful is that? You imagine? I think it's great. Greg has the standard American diet, so if you looked inside my fridge, you'd be going, but it's not me. Trust me. I had to learn how to squint many years ago with him, and I continue to squint. The stuff doesn't even look like food anymore, and I have no desire to jump into his stash. He's got a stash on the bistro table in our dining area of the living dining combo. And people have seen it and said, how do you not stick your hand into those things? And it's like, I don't even see them. Don't even see them anymore. But anyway, that's not our story here, is it? And so if you've been doing carnivore, today is the last week, part of the last week of January of the World Carnivore Month. And I hope that you've been successful doing it. There's certainly been a lot of great videos about it on YouTube. And, it's just such a blessing. We're just so lucky to have the places that we have to get to information. And the more I've been doing carnivore, it's been so calming. it's been such a relief. Sure, I still have to do food prep, with things that aren't on my food plan. But last night, for example, I had a great big pork chop. I cooked it in I cooked in a coconut oil. Don't hate me. I still use coconut oil. And right, Craig? And I cooked it, and it's not Craig Emmerich. Um, I cooked a pork chop in the coconut oil, and then half of a ribeye that I had pre-cooked, smoked on the big green egg. And so there on my Fiesta salad plate, that's about this big, 7 inches, was the pork chop and the Delmonico steak, ribeye steak, and it was so delicious. Is ribeye and Delmonico, are they the same anyway? Wonder where that came from. But it was so delicious, and it was so easy, and it was so tasty. And I had like 2 bites of the pork, and then I'd switch over to 2 bites of the ribeye, and it was just so easy, so satiating, so it just added to that feeling of just contentment. It's like all is fine with the world. And I like to have like a little variety on the plate. The other day we had some ground grass-fed lamb with ribeye. And I just like to have the different flavors and textures to work off of. I guess the pork chop took the place of a vegetable. But it's great. I love being older and I guess more patient with the process. And I think life in general teaches us older people patience as we go along. You learn to have patience. It's always funny to go to a doctor's office and see the impatient people. They want to sue. I'll own you for making them wait. And it's just like, you're going to wait. Just plan on it, right? And you see the old people, and they've got, knitting in one bag, they've got a book in the other. Some of them have headphones in, and they just handle it with aplomb, right? They're used to this. It's the way it is. It's not going to change, so practicing the serenity prayer helps a lot too. But it's just so funny to see the righteous younger folks that just, don't you know who I am? How dare you make me wait? My time's important too, and all of that. Well, okay. But, your blood pressure is skyrocketing, and nobody else around here is. And that's how it's been with my food and my weight. I'm not looking for any great big changes each week. Well, I've been weighing the first Thursday of each month since I've been carnivore. So it's been like 4 or 5 months now. And I think this would be my 6th weighing coming up in February. And each time I've gained. Well, I'm not going to get on the scale in February. Why do I need to see this? It is what it is. It's either that my body, my bones are rebuilding, or my muscles are, rebuilding, or maybe I'm just eating too much meat. I don't think so. I'm eating less than any woman that I see in their 40s and 50s on a carnivore channel talking about eating. They say they eat, 1.5 to 2.5 pounds of meat a day. And usually they stop around 2, but sometimes they go up. And especially if they go to all you can eat, Brazilian grill type of thing. And so, it is what it is. Do I feel, I feel a little bit heavier from the weight gain. It's less than 5 pounds when all is said and done. It's been like anything from like a little less than a half to a pound, and each of the months. And it's like, I don't want to see it again because I feel okay. I've got great energy. I talk about, it's not sleep anymore. It's like deep slumber. In fact, yesterday my back was out of whack, and I'm not a poet. My back was out of whack all day because I slept. I don't think I changed positions for like 8 solid hours. I went to bed a little before 6. I woke up a little bit before 2, and it was like that. My back went. I don't think I rolled over. I don't think I stretched. it's so funny to go to bed in that same position that you wake up in. That wasn't me from before. And so it's not sleep anymore. It's like this deep restorative slumber. Now, somebody brought up to me, and I've been dealing with it since keto, so I never gave it a thought. Itchy scalp. Do you have an itchy scalp? I still have an itchy scalp at times, but I don't give it a thought, but it hasn't gotten better with carnivore. It's just something I just itch, like how some people do this when they wake up or something. It's like I wake up and I go like that. And I don't know why it hasn't gotten better. Lord knows I'm getting enough fat in my diet, so it's not a dry scalp. It's not like a dandruffy scalp. But I was just wondering if anybody else has that. I know my nails have improved tremendously. I'll never have knockout nails or talons like you see on some people, but like the TV show Claws. But they certainly have gotten stronger, and I can go and get like a nice manicure with a color that lasts about 5 days. Then I take off the color and I put on my clear here at home, and I've just got, she's worked on the cuticles, and the nails have gotten thicker, and so it looks like I have some shape. Before they were cracked, like the skin, those deep cracks on the cuticles, and the nails were cracked and flaking and peeling, and that's definitely improved with carnivore. So, I have nothing but wonderful things to say. Um, I was laughing. I was doing the list because Beating Obesity Jim said, why don't you do an Imagine? And so I've been keeping a list and adding to it. And it's like, it's so funny because there's been so many wonderful non-scale victories that have happened. And I will tell you that your boobs won't get perky. Okay? If you're my age, which is 69, or even older, or even younger, boobs do not, get a, bikini on the beach look to them. Okay, that's about the only non-scale victory that hasn't happened. And I just laughed because that's like my sense of humor is like, no, that was one thing that I always wished I didn't. I mean, how can you when you weigh, a lot of weight? There, perky? I don't think so. So anyway, I am just delighted with carnivore results. And if you're new and you just have said, oh, okay, I'll do carnivore for the month. If you give it a try, I'm telling you, each month gets better. I watched a panel of women the other day. I also listened to a panel of men the other day. So it's always interesting. But the women were talking about the Zen. And like, could there be a more perfect feeling, that Zen of like, it's all working? Who knew? It's like, I don't know about you, but when I was doing all the different diets, it's like as soon as I always like had this like goal, this like, goal that I could just reach out and pull back in, the goal of like when I'm skinny, when this will fit again. I've even heard some people talk about boots, some women, that their calves have lost weight, and so they can buy regular boots now. They couldn't before. They'd always have to buy the wide calf boots in order to wear boots. And it's like little things that like we don't even talk about that have suddenly been realized. And so it's funny to not have that like as soon as, and I don't hear carnivore women, giving out how much they weigh. A few of them are like me. They've put on some weight. They hope they take it off. I just trust the process. I really, that's part of that patience that I was talking about. Having the patience to see it through. Not 30 days, not 3 weeks, not 2 weeks, month after month. I would say, so I'm into my probably 6th month of doing this. And I've had a couple of tweaks since I started carnivore, from the carnivish to the carnivore. Like I gave up Brussels sprouts. I had them once a week from the big green egg. No big deal. No big deal. But I gave them up, and so there were a few other things. I gave up, the sweeteners, and then along the way have been other things like gum. I never did artificial sweeteners or diet sodas, so I didn't have those to give up. And if you're still working on giving that up, it's a big one. So congratulate yourself if you've gotten there. I gave up the alternative sweeteners in my coffee. I gave up the ketogenic foods, 5 or 6 years ago. But I have given up the alternative sweeteners in my coffee. And now I'm just used to that like deep, dark, bold taste, So Goldilocks has changed it up again. And what you do matters to you. So enjoy it, have the patience, see it through. Don't try to do everything by sunset today. We don't need that. What we need is a steady as she goes, acceptance as he goes too. Acceptance of what you're doing for yourself. One person keeps a log. I think that's more than one person, I'm sure. Keeps a log or a journal with all the different changes each day. And there will be many of them. And then, you'll even forget what's changed, unless you listen to somebody that, went out during the whole holiday season and went whole hog. And, you can hear from them about the aches and pains and everything that came roaring back in. You don't have to go there. You don't have to. You can stay in your food plan and be true to yourself and be abstinent. It's a great feeling. There's nothing like knowing what you're planning for the day and having just that and going to bed with having just that and waking up the next day and saying, wow, this works. The layer upon layer of abstinence. There's nothing to compare. There isn't, and you can like ignore the scale. You can go by how something fits. You can go by how a tape measure is. I think my waist has gotten thicker. I think that's where the difference is. And so, I used to love having a tinier waist, but I don't right now. So that's just where my body's supposed to be. So acceptance, it's a great answer. Acceptance and patience, they really work well, and they suit you well too in stressful situations where perhaps you didn't handle it as well in the past. For me, that's carnivore. That is that calmness. That is that buzz in the head and that feeling. Sometimes I still want a cigarette, and I quit almost 50 years ago, So I know that feeling of like, I'm just going to go tear into them. I'm going to eat that pint of something right at them. I hope they feel better. Well, no, they won't, and you won't either. Trust me. So, going through the process of an impatient, stressful moment, there's nothing like it. Carnivore, I don't know, it just kind of works for me. It's like that whole overall body experience. I hope you get glimpses of it, or it's happening for you right now too. So, this has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, doing carnivore. It's been great. I hope it's been that way for you too. Comment about itchy scalp if you've had one. It will help me and somebody else that was talking to me about it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye for now.